78% of people admit they made at least one big financial mistake before turning 40. Now, the question is, are you going to be just another number in that statistic? Because the money traps I'm about to show you are the same ones I fell for. And they cost me years of savings. If you avoid every single one, you could save more money than most people earn from a raise in an entire decade. Most people go through life believing that small money mistakes don't really matter. One dinner out here, an unnecessary gadget there, it all feels harmless. But what if I told you those little choices are like a quiet rust, slowly corroding everything you've worked for? By the time most people realize it, the damage is deep and expensive to reverse. If you're in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s, you might feel like you have time to fix things later. That belief is comforting, but dangerously misleading. Time can be your greatest ally for building wealth, but it can also become your worst enemy when you waste it covering for bad decisions you didn't even know you were making. Right now, while you watch this, silent traps are eating into your savings, your freedom, and your future options. I'm not here to scare you, but there's something critical you need to see before it's too late. In a few minutes, I'll reveal the single mindset shift that can stop this quiet erosion for good. But first, you need to meet someone who thought he was safe until the cracks appeared beneath his feet. Jake is 35. He works hard, makes a decent salary, and feels like he's doing better than most of his friends. On the surface, he's the guy people point to and say, he's got his life together, a steady job, a nice apartment, a leased car that turns heads in the parking lot. But there's something Jake never talks about, and it's exactly what might cost him everything in the next decade. Every time Jake gets a raise, he treats himself. A new phone, a better vacation. He tells himself, I deserve this, I work hard. And he's right, hard work should pay off. But what he doesn't see is how each new expense quietly locks him into a cycle he can't break. His paycheck grows, but so do his bills, his savings. Barely enough to cover 2 months of rent if something goes wrong. He keeps telling himself he'll start investing soon. Maybe next year when he understands it better. He promises he'll read up on retirement plans when he has time. But time has a way of punishing those who waste it. Jake has no idea that while he sleeps, the clock isn't just ticking, it's stealing future wealth he'll never get back. And what about you? Do you ever wonder what small habit today might quietly steal a decade of freedom tomorrow? There's one decision Jake makes every month that feels harmless, but it's the root of his slow downfall, and I'll show you exactly what it is. In a moment. In your 30s, the world feels open. Promotions come faster, paychecks feel bigger, and for the first time, many feel like they're finally comfortable. This comfort is exactly where the silent danger grows. Jake is not reckless, he doesn't gamble, he doesn't blow his money on luxury cars, but every small upgrade, every night out, every streaming subscription he forgets to cancel, these tiny leaks add up to something far worse than he imagines. Most people in their 30s believe the real problem is not earning enough, so they chase better jobs, side gigs, or promotions. But they rarely fix how they handle the money they already have. This is the trap. When income grows, expenses quietly expand to match it. Economists call this lifestyle inflation. Think of it like pouring water into a bucket riddled with invisible holes. It looks full for a while, but try storing anything for the future, and it slips away. Another costly habit at this age is procrastinating investment. People think they have decades to start. Technically, they do, but mathematically, they don't. Compound interest works best with time, not just money. Every year Jake delays investing is a year his dollars miss multiplying on their own. Just think of Warren Buffett not as the billionaire he is today, but as the teenage boy in Omaha buying his first stock at 11. While most kids were riding bikes or trading baseball cards, he was reading financial reports. He didn't wait for a big paycheck. He started small, but early, and decades later, the magic wasn't in how much he invested but in how long he let his money grow. Buffett's fortune isn't a story of genius, it's a story of time and patience. The question is, how many years are you letting slip away, waiting to feel ready? Then there's the lack of an emergency buffer. A sudden job loss, medical bill, or a car breakdown pushes Jake straight to his credit cards. High-interest debt begins to snowball, another invisible drain that never sleeps. He doesn't see it yet, but his 30s are planting seeds for two possible futures: freedom or quiet financial suffocation. Which one are you planting today without even realizing it? And there's one mindset that decides which future becomes real, but I'll get to that right after you see how the next decade tightens the trap even more. By the time Jake hits his 40s, His life looks even better from the outside. He's got a promotion, a larger house in a better neighborhood, and a growing family he loves providing for. But with every new layer of comfort, another hidden cost wraps tighter around his future. He tells himself he's stable, that he's built enough security to relax a little, but the illusion of security is more dangerous than any obvious risk. Most men in their 40s fall into this exact comfort trap. They spend generously on their kids' education, family vacations, upgrades to the house, all in the name of quality of life. None of this is wrong in itself. The problem is what they sacrifice in silence, their own retirement. Jake maxes out his lifestyle, but skimps on his retirement contributions, convincing himself he'll catch up later when the kids are older. But later rarely comes. Old debts, like leftover car loans or a lingering credit card balance, quietly siphon money every month that could have been compounding for the future. Worse, many stop tracking their spending altogether, thinking, I'm earning enough, so why worry? That false confidence blinds them to the ticking clock. The window to fix mistakes shrinks every year. How many of those windows have already closed without you noticing? But here's what Jake and millions like him don't realize. At 40, every dollar misspent costs double because it's got half the time to grow. The pressure to appear successful, to keep up with colleagues who flaunt bigger homes or newer cars, keeps men locked in a race they can't win. This is the middle-class trap, working harder, spending more, owning more, and quietly owning less of their own future. Most people never break this cycle, but there's a single shift that can slam the brakes and redirect the train before it derails completely. I'll break that down after we see what happens when Jake ignores the warning signs and hits his 50s with no more time to hide. Crossing into your 50s brings an uncomfortable truth Jake never expected. The room for error is gone. He still earns well, but his biggest advantage, time, has slipped through his fingers. The kids are in college, the mortgage isn't finished, and the savings he once promised to grow later can't stretch far enough. He starts feeling the weight of every decision he delayed. But there's one reaction that makes it all worse. I'll come back to that in a second. Men in their 50s often face the heaviest financial stress of their lives. Health concerns pop up, work opportunities plateau, some even face unexpected layoffs. And finding a comparable job at this age isn't easy. Under this pressure, many panic. They cash out retirement accounts too soon, borrow against their future, or stretch credit lines just to keep old promises alive. These quick fixes bury them deeper. A quiet but vicious trap here is comparison. Jake looks at old friends or co-workers who seem to have done it right: bigger pensions, paid off homes, travel photos that sting like tiny reminders of what he postponed. This comparison becomes expensive. To soothe the bruised ego, he spends more to feel less behind. New car leases, unnecessary upgrades, gifts that nobody asked for just to keep up appearances. Each swipe of the card is a slow bleed from an already fragile safety net. Have you ever spent money just to feel less behind? What did it really cost you? But here's the worst part. Many ignore how money and health are linked. At 50, unexpected illness can wipe out savings faster than decades of poor planning ever could. Jake never budgeted for this, and now the margin is razor thin. Still, even at this stage, all is not lost. The mindset that traps men like Jake can also free them if they face the truth and act with urgency. But acting blind won't save him. The shift must be precise. And that's exactly where we're heading next. The real turning point and how to break free. No matter how deep the hole seems today, Jake's story isn't special. It's painfully common. And if you see pieces of your own life in his, you're already ahead, because awareness is the doorway most never open. The question now is simple. How do you stop the leak, repair the damage, and rebuild when time feels short? The answer isn't glamorous. It's raw, uncomfortable, and requires sacrifice, but that discomfort is cheaper than regret. The first step is brutal honesty. Jake has to list every debt, every monthly bill, every hidden drain on his paycheck. Many skip this because facing the truth stings. But a vague budget is a silent killer. Once the numbers are clear, the next move is ruthless. Slash expenses that don't buy freedom. That gym membership nobody uses. The cable package with 200 channels he never watches. The subscriptions lost in email clutter, they all have to go. Small cuts feel insignificant alone, but together they can buy back precious breathing room. Debt must be tackled strategically. High interest loans first, credit cards, payday advances, these are the termites in the foundation. Jake should negotiate lower rates, transfer balances smartly, or even seek professional help if the mountain is too steep alone. Pride has no value when creditors own your tomorrow. Then comes the shift that most men resist. Start investing immediately, however small. Not next year, not after the car is paid off, now. Because each dollar invested today buys back a piece of lost time. Don't chase quick returns or risky bets. Consistency wins this war. Robert Kiyosaki said it best. Rich people buy assets first, comforts later. Finally, mindset is the backbone. Jake must accept that showing off is poison for freedom. He must care more about unseen security than visible status. But how does he stick to this when temptation hits hard? That's the glue that holds all of this together. And it's what we'll unpack in the final stretch of this journey. Everything Jake cuts, every dollar he redirects, every debt he kills, it all means nothing if he doesn't protect the habit behind it. This is where most men slip back. Discipline isn't about iron willpower. It's about designing a life that makes good choices automatic. Imagine this: every morning, before Jake even opens his phone, a silent machine in the background takes a portion of his paycheck and deposits it into an account he can't touch. No noise, no choice, just pure, quiet automation. Like a smart irrigation system watering a future he hasn't stepped into yet. Jake doesn't realize this yet. He still thinks motivation will carry him through the hard days, but motivation evaporates when stress hits. There's a better way. Start with systems. Picture a digital calendar blinking once a week, reminding Jake to spend 10 quiet minutes reviewing where his money went. It's like checking the pulse of his financial health. Simple, fast, but life-saving. No stress, no surprises, just clarity. And then, once a month, there's a ritual. Jake sits at his desk, coffee in hand, reading a new book about money, mindset, or habits. One book, one lesson, one shift. The pages stack like bricks in a wall between him and his old mistakes. That reading time becomes sacred, his personal fortress against ignorance and hype. Discipline is quiet, boring, and repetitive. That's its power. It beats the market hype and flashy promises on social media. Naval Ravikant once said, "Earn with your mind, not your time." But to do that, Jake must keep his mind sharp, reading, questioning, adjusting. Think of consistency not as discipline but as invisible armor. No one sees it, no one claps for it. But every time Jake sticks to his plan, that armor grows thicker. He doesn't feel it immediately, but when temptation or chaos strikes, he's protected. He starts treating mistakes as tuition, not failures. Each slip reinforces the rule: protect what you've built, then expand it piece by piece. The old Jake believed luck would come one day. The new Jake knows luck favors the consistent learner. And as you hear this, you might wonder if it's too late for you to switch tracks. But the truth is, the train moves as long as you do. What matters isn't what you've wasted, but what you guard and grow from this moment on. In a second, we'll close this journey with one final truth that pulls everything together. But there's something else you need to hear first. Jake's life didn't transform overnight. There was no lottery ticket, no sudden windfall. What saved him was a slow, stubborn commitment to stop leaking money and start planting seeds that could grow on their own. This is what separates those who age into debt from those who age into freedom, one quiet, boring decision at a time. If you've watched this far, you're not Jake from 10 years ago, you're Jake standing at the fork in the road, fully awake to what's at stake. That awareness alone makes you an exception. But awareness without action is another expensive lie. What you do in the next 24 hours matters more than every excuse you've used until now. Take one uncomfortable step today. Cancel one wasteful expense. Set up that emergency fund. Call your bank and negotiate a lower rate. Small moves, but they break the inertia. Then, protect that momentum by learning relentlessly. Buffett, Kiyosaki, Naval, none of them relied on luck. They trusted patience more than hype. You don't need a bigger paycheck to start. You need fewer leaks and a plan to let time work for you instead of against you. Freedom isn't what you post online, it's what you feel at night when debt collectors stop calling and your money grows quietly while you sleep. So, if this opened your eyes, write in the comments, "I'm resetting today," and share this with the one person you know is living like the old Jake before it's too late for them to. Your freedom is waiting on the other side of the habits you change today. Now go build it. Before we wrap this up, remember one thing: no video, no mentor, no book can replace the choices you make daily. Knowledge is wasted without execution. You've just seen how silent mistakes eat decades of effort, but you've also seen that discipline and time can rebuild what bad habits destroyed. If you found value here, don't let it end when you close this tab. Share this with someone Who's drifting through life like the old Jake, someone who thinks they have time, but doesn't see the rust eating their future? And if you're serious about rewriting your own story, drop a comment below. I'm ready. That single line is your proof to yourself that today you drew a line in the sand. Your freedom is nobody else's job. It starts with you. It grows with you. And it protects the people you love long after you're gone. Thank you for staying till the end. I believe in the version of you that makes this count. Now go live it.